Oh, man, it's Monday.
It's
Monday. But, man, what an episode of Game of Thrones. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead. We talk about The Walking Dead, but we talk about lots of other stuff, including Game of Thrones. And, man, I cannot wait to dive into this episode.
Dude, I'm shocked. I'm appalled. I'm heartbroken. I'm loving life. I don't know. It was so many emotions.
I'll say you're going through a wide range of emotions there, pal.
Yeah, man.
Before we begin, it should go without saying, but some people still need to hear it. Spoilers. And there are a lot of spoilers for this episode. So spoilers. If you haven't watched the new episode of Game of Thrones and you don't like spoilers, then I would advise don't search the internet for people talking about that episode of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, good advice.
So that is in order, and stay tuned till after the podcast. If you like us a little bit, you can get our social media info and follow us there. Consider hitting the subscribe button, regardless of what platform you're listening on. We do several podcasts a week, and we'd love to add you to our normal array of listeners.
Come on with it.
So yeah, anyways, moving on into this episode 3 of Season 8, we finally get the Battle of Winterfell. And we had to say goodbye to some characters we've been with for a long time. But actually, we didn't lose some of the characters that we thought. Like you said, you thought Tormund was... We both, I think, thought Tormund was gone for sure.
Yeah, I thought we were going to lose a lot more characters than we did. So, not as bad as it could have been.
No, and Game of Thrones is great, at least for me. I know some people are great at predicting the show, but I'm never able to predict anything accurately on this show. So, it definitely didn't go down the way I thought it went down. But with that said, man, what an epic battle.
It was crazy, man. It was the first 15 minutes, man, I could seriously bear, like, it was painful for me to watch all those Dothraki screamers riding into the darkness. You knew what was going to happen.
Oh, we knew it was going down.
I mean, I really think she lit up their swords on fire just so they had a little hope right into their death. I mean,
she essentially knew what was going down, right? So, I mean, she kind of did, she did in a way. So, yeah, and we won't do any kind of in-game spoilers, but man, we both watched in-game over the weekend, and then we turned around and watched this. So I feel like I need a couple of days off of work to recover.
I'm telling you, man, it's crazy, but it really feel bad for the Dothraki. I guess they're all but extinct at this point. It kind of reminded me back in World War II when they would like shoot up the Japanese kamikaze pilots with like amphetamine and stuff, just so they could do what they needed to do.
Right. Yeah.
She didn't have any amphetamines, though. Just fire.
They just had straight up adrenaline. But yeah, so we had Sam didn't really get his brave on, did he?
Not too much. Nah, he would have been just as well being down in the crypts.
I mean, he definitely wasn't faring too well.
He just wanted to say he had been there,
Ed died saving him.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he was a liability.
The reigning Lord Commander is now dead. And if Sam becomes the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, like he's smart, man, but he isn't brave enough to be Lord Commander.
No.
But so many things to discuss, man. First off, let's hats off to little Lady Mormont, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, she was the only one who could slay the giant.
I mean, was he about to eat her?
Man, he was definitely checking her out.
Pulling her close. And,
right.
I mean, it kind of gave me some, like, I know you hadn't watched it, but it gave me some, like, Attack on Titan vibes, the way he was just, like, pulling her close to his mouth.
Or like King Kong, the beast just falls in love with the fair maiden.
Yeah, but in this instance, he had crushed her to death before he got her, so he would have been sadly disappointed.
Sometimes they just don't know their own strength,
Then we saw, you said for a second, and it's completely understandable because there was so much happening all over the place, but you said for a second when Lady Mormont come back, you thought that was Arya for a second.
Yeah, man, for a second I was all lucked up, man, but it was just so much going on, but it wasn't, thank goodness.
Oh, man, it's so many people still, though. We didn't lose as many as we thought we were, but we still lost quite a few when you actually step back and look at it. I mean, we also lost Bart, which is crazy to think that was his purpose from the Lord of Light, was being brought back, time and time again to that moment to save Arya.
So that
she could go and slay the White Walkers.
Yeah, I was surprised he made it like through that hallway and got in that room with
he
them.
He got shanked quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he was just like holding them all back. I figured he was done at that point.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to make it any further than that, but somehow he did.
I thought we were going to get like a T-Dog moment from The Walking Dead, which,
exactly.
Spoiler for The Walking Dead, but good God, this happened like
Season 3.
6 years ago or something, so time to move on. But, like where he holds the zombies back so Carol can go, I kind of got that vibe. I thought it was going to be like, he's just holding them against the wall and it's like, go! And then, but yeah, man, we actually, too, we had a lot. I like what Game of Thrones does sometimes, too, because with their deaths, I don't know, and sometimes movies and shows, it's too cliche that if someone dies, they say something inspiring, and then they die, and these, I guess, were much more going for realism, like they couldn't even speak, they're just kind of laying there dying, Jorah Mormont, too, man, died in the friend zone. I'm going to tell you what, that was rough, man. But died in the arms of Daenerys. I think if he could have picked a way to go, that would have been the way he'd have wanted to go, defending her and then dying in her arms.
Yeah, man, she could have at least let him get, like grab some ass or something, you know what I mean?
Before you go, Jorah, grab it. You've earned it.
Right.
Forever in the friend zone.
But nah, man, he fulfilled his purpose as well. He, got cured of the
grayscale.
The grayscale, yeah, I forgot what it was called.
Got cured of the grayscale in time to, and then in time to come back and save Daenerys. Because, man, she was some kind of screwed out there.
Yeah, man. That dragon won't coming back.
Now, a lot of people were complaining about it being too dark. Did you have that issue?
There were a couple scenes where kind of telling what was happening was a little difficult, but all in all, no, I didn't think so.
I didn't really have that big of an issue with it. But I thought, and this is just me maybe probably thinking way too into it, but I thought like when they were chasing when they were in the storm come through and they were in the sky chasing, I figured the reason why it was so hard to see was they wanted you to feel disoriented in the same way that Daenerys and Jon felt disoriented, like you couldn't really see. That's why it was so much of a challenge for them, and I felt like that's why they were doing it that way. But some people
I thought those sequences were awesome, man. But there were some like fighting through the dark and the fire that I did get a little like what's going on, but it wasn't that much.
Some of the fighting was so fast paced that I'm like, whoa, did Jaime just die?
Yeah, dude.
Did Brienne just die? Like, what's happening here? Like, it was just so fast paced. Which I think they did that because that's kind of what these people were up against. And I mean, dude, just the creators of Game of Thrones and the directors, just the whole crew does such a good job. I kind of felt like Battle of the Bastards again. You remember how hopeless that felt? Mm-hmm. And that's the way this felt, man, just completely hopeless. I mean, it was some points where I really wanted to pause it so I could catch my breath. I'm like, dude, just I need a second,
yeah,
man.
I had to pause it and go in the kitchen.
It was intense, man. Like it was just, I mean, I really thought everybody, I was like, damn, everyone's going to die. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought Jon was dead several times.
Yet, Jaime, I was surprised he made it out.
My buddy James had a cool idea that would have been dope if they would have done it, but I guess they didn't want Jon Snow running around naked the rest of the episode.
What?
But James had a really cool, he said, man, when Daenerys was hovering over him, and the White Walk, she flamed some of those. He goes, I thought she was going to like look at Jon, and Jon was just going to give her like a nod, like, just go ahead and flame him up, sacrifice himself basically. And when she did it, they would all be dead, but because he's half Targaryen.
Right.
So he would have been standing there, of course, naked, because it would have, but he said, Jon would have been standing there like, and that would have confirmed to Daenerys, like, he's not lying, he's telling the truth, which we may still get that at some point, but that would have been really cool. That would have been really cool to see that.
Oh man, I was just thinking about something. You know what I was saying? So does that mean since the dragon fire didn't kill the Night King that he's?
That's what James was asking me. James was asking me. He called me after the episode when we were talking about it, and he was like, "So does that mean that he's Targaryen?" I was like, "I just figured the magic protected him."
He's so powerful. That's what I thought at first, but then you bringing that up, I was like, I wonder if
that's what James was thinking.
Targaryen blood has something to do with it.
James was on a roll with those two, but then he was like, "Do you think Melisandre was a White Walker the whole time?" And I was like, "No, I didn't think about the cold thing like you did." And I was like, "I just guessed that her purpose had been fulfilled, and so she was time for her just because, I mean, she was so old, she was probably dying anyways, so she took it off. But then you mentioned, she's walking half naked in subarctic temperatures, and at that fragile old age, she probably would drop dead pretty quick.
I would think. Yeah, I mean, the amulet was probably all that's keeping her alive to begin with.
Which one thing I watched, they were saying that they watch Mojo, but they were talking about how she had been without her amulet before. We found that out, but I'd have to go back and rewatch all of that to really.
I don't know about you, brother. I'd have been grabbing that amulet up. You know what I'm saying? Shit.
Right? Like, let me hold on to that.
Yeah.
Let me hold on to that.
Pretty sure that could come in handy.
But yeah, it was. Just the Arya thing, man. Arya with that Night King. Because what I thought was going to happen the whole time while Bran was so calm was I thought that Bran was going to have like dragon's glass in his hand, and you don't expect Bran to be a fighter, and the Night King was going to go to kill him, and Bran was just going to like chunk him in the chest, with the piece of dragon's glass, which would have been kind of predictable, I guess, but. When Arya came out of nowhere, man, I had so many emotions go through my head so fast. When he called her, my first thought was, no, Arya's dead. And then, I thought, okay, Bran's going to stab him in the back, stab him with some dragon glass from behind. And then when Arya did that nasty little knife drop like she did when she was sparring against Brienne and chunked him, oh, my God, man. It was just two of us watching it, and I bet the neighbors heard us yelling.
Yeah, man, that was a weird moment, the Night King and Bran, just like him standing there and them looking at each other. I don't want to get into fan theories and all that stuff, but I don't know, man. It's weird looking at the two of them there together.
Well, where was Bran the whole time he was warged? And I know some diehard fans be like, stupid. He was. I mean, I know he went into the Crows, but is that just where he was the whole time? Just because Brad was I've heard the theories for a long time that Bran is the Night King, and I didn't think that they were true. I'm like, I mean, that'd be a cool twist, but it wouldn't really make much sense. But hold on for a second, because I do have a thought. The whole time he was warged up until the Night King approached, and then he told Theon, was like, you're a good man. Brad was like, dude, has he been warged into the Night King? So, the Night King wasn't there at first. He was just kind of sitting back. Did he, and you didn't really see him until Bran found him with the crows or whatever. Was the Night King just kind of on autopilot or whatever? Has he been controlling the Night King this whole time? And now he's pausing Theon basically to be like, you're a good man. I'm going to have to kill you. But then, the Night King operated on his own without Bran. But you could, I don't think Bran is the Night King, but what if Bran, knowing the future and knowing things, how they're going to play out, he was controlling the Night King because all of this was just necessary to get them where they needed to go? I
don't know, man. It's crazy. I definitely hope they shed some more light on who the Night King was, what's going on with Bran, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't think Bran is the Night King. It's a fan theory. It's been going forever, but I just want to know where he was warged that whole time. Was he just watching the battle from above with the crows, which is what I'm thinking he was doing. Possibly, he just was keeping an aerial view of things, watching. But poor Theon, too. Man, my buddy James, because I watched it with a friend named Brad, and then my buddy James called me after, and we discussed it for a little while. But, James didn't like the way Theon died. And I was like, when you watch the behind the scenes and what they say about it, it made perfect sense, man. Theon's ran plenty in his life, and he's had just and they said that, they don't believe some cliche shows that, a redemption arc means they have to be redeemed and then they can just die because they've been redeemed. But in Theon's case, he's facing death, and he faced it like a man. He chose rather to cower or wait or run or hide or whatever. He chose how he went out, which was to die fighting, basically. And that's, says a lot coming from where he's been. I mean, he's been a coward at times. He's ran from problems, yada, 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 to where now he faces his death head on like a man.
Yeah, I mean, you think about his history at Winterfell. At first, he was raised there as a captive, basically, and then he comes back and conquers it, and then he comes back and he's like a eunuch slave. So I think he wanted to go out at Winterfell on a high note, live or die.
It was so touching. Bran's like, you're a good man, Theon. And then, oh, man, it was... He's like, about the things I've done, and he was like, everything you've done has brought you right here to where you're and that's tough too. Bran knows he's gonna die. Bran, which we all knew. It's as Theon said he was gonna guard Bran. It was all right, well, Theon's dead.
Yeah, dude, it's really just all the cause and effect, in the show. It's wild, man. You think about it, the small council from season 1 really was correct. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they really, if they had have killed Daenerys, she never would have hatched the dragons, and a dragon never would have, went all White Walker and took down the wall.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah. I mean, when you go back and you watch it, all the calls they make early in the show and how they played out now, man, it's definitely been just great writing, just like planning way ahead, not just fly. Like as much as I love Lost was like my favorite show, but they had certain things in mind, but they just flew off the cuff too many times, and just giant. Like you can tell Game of Thrones has been very well planned out in that way.
Yeah, it's wild though. I mean, think about that. Daenerys died before the dragons hatched. None of that with the walkers would still be, I mean, that would have been over. The wall.
Those dragons were a huge, huge asset.
Yeah,
I thought Jon Snow's died at first because it landed or whatever, and he got off of it. But it seems, and actually, now this is you might want to. This isn't a spoiler. Somebody spotted in the preview, but JP, you don't like spoilers, so this isn't a big spoiler, but this is something someone spotted. So if you've been wondering this, you can rest easy. Everybody's been like, "Where's Ghost? Where's Ghost?" The dire wolf that ran with the group. But it seems if you look very closely, you can see him in the preview of next week's episode.
Oh, okay.
Just like the dragon. I thought, so did John's dragon die? I just thought it was injured. I just thought it had landed because it taken too many injuries. And but if you watch the episode, the previews from next week, you see a dragon fly, and they cut right as you see a second dragon, coming up too. So we know. So
John's got a wolf and a dragon now.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, I'd pick the dragon between the two, honestly, but the wolf is badass.
Yeah, it is.
But man, I just oh my God, it's just something for storytelling when they just make you feel like that. The anxiety in that episode was just insane, man.
Too much for me, man.
I mean, just
loved every minute of it, though.
Oh man, I hate to see this show go, but I love I definitely think that they've.
Was I the only one when they were down in the crypt? Like, I figured that the bodies in the crypt.
Yeah, my buddy James called that a few weeks ago. Right. Like when they mentioned the crypts and stuff, he was like, "I bet you, like some Starks in the crypt, they're going to come back."
Were you waiting for like a headless Ned Stark to make his way out?
I thought that somehow, because I don't know if they got the body back, but they never got the head back. Right? That was on a spike at King's Landing.
That's
been so long ago, I can't remember. I know that she got the body back and got it to the crypts, but I didn't know if she ever got the head along with it. But,
I mean, even if they did get the head, I don't think they would have like attached it, so it still would have been
he would have been carrying his head. How dope would that have been?
Like Headless Horseman style.
And then facing. I thought, all right, now when Tyrion and Sansa were hiding behind that I guess you would call that a crypt too, right? I mean, I know the whole thing's called the crypt, but like a grave essentially. They were hiding behind it. When she pulled out that dagger, I thought they were going to commit suicide.
Yeah, I thought it was a suicide
because he kissed her hand or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, come on, please don't go out this way. Please don't."
At the very least, I thought she was going to kill herself. But yeah, I thought they were making a suicide pact.
But they were making a run for it.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. And like, think about all that had to fall into place for her to get Littlefinger's dagger, which had the Valyrian steel, which is what she used to kill the Night King. Like, just think about everything that's fallen into place to make this all work out as splendidly as it did.
I couldn't have handled losing Tyrion.
No,
I couldn't have handled.
No, I think if we lose him, it'll be in sight of his brother and sister.
Yeah.
I'm still anxious to see how Lord Varys is going to do, though, because Melisandre said they were. Her prophecy from last season that they would never return to that place and all of that, which don't mean he's going to die. It could just mean he's never going to return. But I'm anxious to see if he's going to die in all of this, because I think a lot of people are kind of breathing a breath of like a sigh of relief, because we're like, "Whew, the battle for Winterfell's over. The White Walkers are defeated," but man, there's still a lot of death on the way.
Yeah, and now that the White Walkers are gone, the wall has been breached. Is there really even a need for the Knights of the Watch?
That's a good point.
I don't know.
That's a good point. The
Night's Watch.
That's a really good point. I don't know.
The Watch, the Night's Watch.
The Knights of the Watch.
Knights of the Watch.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We didn't get to see much of the Night King's generals, I guess is what you would call them, really doing anything. They just kind of were like, "Hey, man, I'm here for the show."
Right. They're just kind of his boys hanging out.
Because if you remember when, John killed one, I think a couple of the White Walkers died. Like, they basically, like, the Night King controlled them all, but then they each could control their own little groups of them, too, So it's like, I mean, I get go for the Night King, take them all out, but it's like you could have probably taken a few out by taking them bastards out.
Yeah,
but
I would have liked to have seen like the Hound going up against like a White Walker.
The Hound, man, I love that seeing Arya in danger is what snapped him back into it.
Yeah, he was about ready to split all over again.
It was kind of no kidding. It was like the battle at Blackwater. Like he just kind of was like, Nope. To hell with you. To hell with everybody. I'm done. We can't win. No point.
Yeah.
And but seeing Arya in trouble, man, I love how he snapped into action for her, and I'm glad to see his story's not done yet.
Oh yeah, man. Those paternal instincts just kicked right on in.
And we said recently, I know I did. I think you did. We said recently in a podcast that Arya was our favorite character, like going into this season.
She's definitely up there for me.
I love that. Excuse me, still getting over some sickness, but God, man, it was just so good, so intense.
Yeah, man. What do you think of that meme where it says, when Arya approached the Hound on the wall the night before the battle, that she got cock blocked, and that's the only reason she went down?
I've not seen that. Are you serious?
Homeboy, yeah.
I've seen some funny memes and some adult content here, so if kids are listening, maybe cover their ears. But I loved when, there's one meme that shows Arya, when she's laying there with, just kind of looking out in the distance while, he's asleep beside her, and it's like when winter came, but you didn't. And then another one's like when you realize you should have hooked up with Podrick instead on your last night.
Yeah, we actually shared some of those on the Podcasting Dead Facebook page, which you should go like.
Did you share?
Yeah, there was a couple. Yeah, it's not our content. We didn't come up with the content.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I've shared some Game of Thrones stuff on there. Yeah, make sure you find. We don't promote Facebook enough. Go find our Facebook. We have it, and it's pitiful. We only have a few people on that. We need more likes on that page. But we just share memes and related content for Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, stuff like that.
Yep.
But I'm trying to think. I mean, of course, there's a million other things to talk about. I mean, this was a long episode. Grey Worm, man, I was scared for Grey Worm a lot.
I didn't think he was going to make it out either.
I mean, oh my God. But the Unsullied, man, they died like champs, though. They maintained their formation. They did everything they were supposed to.
Yeah, those poor desert people, man, they did not have a good night.
They didn't fare well at all.
No, the Dothraki, man, like I said, they're all but extinguished at this point.
Yep. Yeah, which was probably really heartbreaking for Daenerys to see them all go, too. I mean, that's really what got her into battle, you know? She's watching them on top of the hill, and I mean, they all came to fight for her, and now they're all dead.
That's her OG crew, and they basically just died for nothing. I mean, they just added to the Night King's army right out the gate.
Yep, and I thought, when she said Dracarys, like you said, it honestly would have been too easy, but for a moment, I thought the Night King was done.
Right.
And I thought that was going to be how Daenerys was going to gain everybody's support, was she rolled in and she's the one that defeated the Night King, so now they're all ready to march behind her to war with Cersei. But of course, that's not the case.
No, at the end of the day, it was the Starks, baby.
What about that tension with Sansa, where she's talking to Tyrion, and he's like, we should have stayed married or something, and she's like, it would never work with your loyalty to her and me, and then it's like, well, without her, there'd be no, it's that's kind of tense, man.
Yeah, it's true. None of them would be alive at that point, I guess, if Daenerys wasn't there.
And I mean,
possibly.
I'm sure she'll run back and tell Daenerys that, because they're all a gossiping bunch. So
yeah,
I'm interested to see what role Lord Varys is going to play going forward. I've always said I felt like somehow he was going to betray Daenerys or attempt to, and she was going to roast his ass with a dragon. She basically told him, if you ever conspire against me again, I will burn you alive.
At the end of the day, Varys is all about the realm. And I mean, if at the end of the day he thought that keeping Cersei on the throne was what's best for the realm, that's what he's going to do.
That's what's kind of heartbreaking about it. He's not out for self-interest like so many other characters. He does what he thinks is best for the realm, but sometimes that doesn't always line up with the views of those that he's with.
Yeah. I don't know if Cersei would be the best one to sit on there or not.
Man, I wonder if we're going to have a Bronn Lannister face-to-face next episode.
Oh,
he's been tasked to kill both the brothers, so I wonder if they're going to meet and he's gonna crossbow their asses.
Yeah, I guess Tyrion's kind of cut off from the family fortune, so it's not like he can outbid Cersei at this point.
I'll give you a dragon.
Yeah.
Please. Please don't do this. Yeah, because that's what he told him when they were fighting, back in God. What was that, season 1 or 2? Where that was season 2, right? It's been so long. So
they had just left the Vale.
Yeah.
So it might have been 1.
But, he told him, he was like, if anybody ever, if you ever think of betraying me, just remember I'll pay double.
I'll pay more, yeah.
Whatever they're paying, and it's like, so remember that deal we made? Well, I've got this really cool triangle, this pyramid scheme I'm about to do. Make a lot of money. I'm going to hook you up. And Bronn needs his castle. Jaime promised him a castle. He hasn't got a
man,
castle
Bronn made out good. He didn't have to deal with that whole White Walker Battle of Winterfell thing, man. He was just kicked back, getting his weasel grease.
And I definitely thought, looking back a season or two, when we knew this war was coming, I definitely thought Bronn was going to be in there because he's one of the best fighters, I do like Jorah went out like a freaking champ, though, man. Like, he's always been revered as a great fighter, and, I mean, he really did just go down slaying, man.
Yep. He did, man. Daenerys, she could count on him to the bitter end.
I'm so sad, too, man. I hope that they have some kind of in memoriam, like I hope when we come back we get some kind of, like, them honoring those that died, maybe like a funeral or something to that effect, something where... And I hope they burn all those bodies. I mean, the Night King's dead, but I mean,
you can
still,
never be too
just
sure.
to be safe.
And that'd be a lot of digging, too. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's wild. You wonder what lurks beyond the wall now, anything.
Right.
I don't know.
Is there any, I mean, the children of the forest going to do something else?
Yeah.
Evil?
And that was
a lot of
interesting.
which now, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, of course, super fans are gonna be like, "How do you not know this?" Sorry, I mean, it's been like 3 or 4 freaking years, man. Life goes on. But now, the children of the forest, were there any left after they?
I thought they were all killed.
I thought they were too. I mean, I know all that we saw were killed, but were there were no more out there, right? Killed. Like that was it. And they died when Hodor died,
right?
Because I don't think there were any more out there.
I don't think so. But it was pretty cool, Arya stabs the Night King right where that dragon's glass went into the heart of the one of the first men.
Yeah,
where the child of the forest put it.
Yep. I was wondering if we were going to hear the Night King speak, like, or if he's even capable of speaking. You know what I mean? And I told Brad, I was like, it's kind of like a Master Chief showing his face thing. I don't know. You don't know if you're familiar with Halo, but you go the whole time and you don't really see his face. And if you have, I quit playing him after like 3 or 4, so I never saw his face, but. It was one of those things where, it was kind of like, I kind of want to see his face, but at the end of the day, I kind of don't want him to. And it's kind of like that with the Night King speaking. I was kind of like, I mean, I want to hear him speak, but at the end of the day, I kind of don't want to hear him speak. Like, that just adds to the mystery and the... What if he would have spoken, he would have had like a Morty voice? Oh, geez, Bran.
Jeez. I don't know.
Time to die, you bitch.
Well, I said, I figured he'd have sent one of his boys to kill Bran, but...
I think he wanted the pleasure all to himself.
Yeah, kill him like a baller, yeah.
I feel like being he doesn't speak, him just sitting there staring at Bran was kind of equivalent to like the villain giving a long like monologue right before they kill the hero and then gives enough time for somebody to come in and do something. That was kind of his version of doing it, was just staring at him.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, the Night King knows who he is. Bran knows who the Night King is. So I guess they just had that unspoken, like, I see you. Well,
kind of giving each other the sexy eyes,
right,
back and forth.
So I want more answers. I want to peel back some layers and see.
I would like to learn a little bit more about the Night King
because his plan may not be over, man. There may be something else.
That's only Bran would know, right?
Yeah, I mean, it might not be over. It is kind of like I thought the battle against death and the White Walkers would have extended further into the season.
Right.
So I don't know, man. He might have a contingency plan, or getting killed by Arya might have been part of his plan. It seems a little crazy because he lost his whole army, but...
And his life.
And broke into a million pieces.
And his life.
Maybe it's like the T-1000 from Terminator 2, like liquid metal. He'll just kind of
like the next episode, all that ice will form back together.
Yeah.
That would be crazy if like they're done with that battle and they're heading to fight Cersei and then the White Walkers just crash it.
Yeah, dude. I don't know.
That's just, man, that's a terrifying enemy though, man. Everybody you die becomes an enemy.
Yeah.
Everybody
crazy,
I don't think I worded that right. Sorry. Everybody that dies will become your enemy. I mean, like, the more you lose, the more you lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's no winning. There's no winning. But I was just thinking how, as scary as it was seeing the undead, flood into Winterfell. I mean, think about through history how many people really saw that. I mean, obviously not the undead, but just an invading army just coming in and killing everyone. Yeah.
I thought it was excellent the way they paced it too, man. Like, it was intense, and then when you went very horror movie-ish when Arya was creeping through the library and those, they were. I mean, that was creepy as hell.
I'm still getting my nerves together, man. I'm still getting my nerves together.
It was very anxiety-inducing. Yeah. That is for sure.
I'm still not back on top of things.
If you don't have anxiety, but that episode gave you anxiety, that's how anxiety feels.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like. Oh, it was rough, man. It was a tough, solid episode. I'm so sad to know that we only have 3 episodes left. But
is
man,
there only 3?
Yeah.
I thought there was 8 this season.
There's only 6.
Somebody told me there was
6.
It was your friend that does the other podcast.
The other podcast?
Yeah.
I don't have a friend.
She does a podcast about Game of Thrones like we do, only not as raw.
Does she?
Because they said there was 6 left after episode 2.
I don't remember that.
I don't know.
I thought there were only 6 episodes.
Okay, we sound like one of us sounds really stupid.
Well,
right
you know
now.
what? We're going to find out.
You're probably right.
I don't know. I'm not. Let's see. Right here. People that know the answer are screaming at their computer right now.
Yeah,
It's only blah, blah, blah.
But no, I was listening to her podcast, and they were covering episode 2, and they were like, only 6 episodes to go now.
How many episodes are in Game of...
Is it 6?
I told you. So whoever we're talking
It's
about...
your friend, not mine.
I don't have a female friend that does a Game of Thrones podcast, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so 6.
Only 6 left.
How you like them apples?
6 in all.
So 3 episodes left,
3 down,
man.
3 to go.
And we got another big battle ahead of us.
Yeah. So it won't be as long as the Battle for Winterfell.
I don't think so, but I think it'll still be big and epic.
Yeah.
But we'll see. They got dragons. Now, fight dragons versus living people, which I don't know. They do got those little, like, harpoons they can shoot out of them.
Yeah, they got harpoons. You've got Euron's fleet. They don't have a naval
Hopefully the
force.
dragon will just fly through the damn bay and just roast all those ships out the gate.
Yeah, we'll see.
But we'll find out next week. If you want to follow us on social media, you can find me on Snapchat, Instagram, and Periscope. Just search I'm Justin Lloyd, all lowercase, no apostrophes, 2 L's in Lloyd. So just I'm Justin Lloyd. And JP you can find on Periscope at JP Slim, all lowercase, no spaces, no nothing, just JP Slim.
Do it.
And it'll be a grand old time.
Sometimes it is.
Grand old time.
I made my own iron throne last night, getting ready for the.
It was dope. It was out of comic boxes, so you'll have a good time watching JP be
Spilled
savage
wine,
behind the
though.
scenes.
Yeah.
But we will catch you. Well, actually, if you like the podcast and you're going to subscribe, we'll catch you tomorrow for Current Events Tuesday. But if not, and you're only here for the show, we'll catch you next Monday as we review and discuss episode 4. I give this episode like 5 stars.
Oh yeah, man.
5 out of 5 stars.
A+.
Great episode. I need some time off from work to cope. We got a meeting in a few minutes, a big corporate meeting, and I'm like, I'm not ready for this. When they're talking about numbers and stuff, I'm going to be like, but what about Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
I don't care about sales projections. I need to know.
I'm telling you.
So, we'll catch you. We'll catch you sometime or another. We'll see you when we see you, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully tomorrow.
I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.
Yeah.